we are going to talk about automation, and then I'm going to introduce you to workflow, process builders, and flows. Automation is a way of something which you want the system to do on a regular basis, or on, when X happens, do Y. So something like that which you don't want to do manually, but you would like the system to do it for you. So systems like Salesforce, they are so powerful, so they have the ability to make all this changes for you. So they can do all of this for you. How do we do that? So let me give you an example of automation first, and then we'll talk about how we can implement that in Salesforce and what all tools Salesforce has provided so far. So whenever a record is created in Salesforce, we want to send out an email to a person or a set of users, and that email should say XYZ, and it might have an image, a logo, and all of that. That email, you can automate sending that email. So whenever a record is created, that email is sent out to those set of users, and it takes all of that content and the logo which you have built in. So how in Salesforce can you implement that? When Salesforce came in, initially we had this functionality of workflows. So what workflows does is, workflow was the initial way of automating stuff. It is a very lightweight tool, and it does only allows you to do 4 things. And these 4 things are: send out an email, create a task, update a field, and send an outbound message. So only these 4 things were you can do using a workflow. So again, what happens is, like in a workflow, when X happens, so let's say a record is created, so that is X. And then when X happens, then you do Y. So Y is something like send an email, create a task, update a field on the record which has triggered this workflow, or you send out an outbound message. So outbound message is something like, you want Salesforce to talk with another application. So you basically send out a JSON response. It's kind of a REST API integration. Is more from a point of view of integration and developer handy rather than admin handy. But for your understanding, REST is a language for speaking between 2 applications. And API is known as Application Process Interface. So REST API would basically mean that 2 applications are trying to talk to each other. There's one more like SOAP API, but when we talk about outbound message, we just keep it to REST, and REST is more common and more used these days. So coming back to our topic of workflows, so that's what you can do with workflow. You can only do these 4 things. That's your workflow. Then, as an enhancement, and as Salesforce built and kept on improvising, it came out with process builders. So what process builders are, again, they follow the same thumb rule. X happens, do Y. So now what happens is, in a process builder, you have few more things that you can do. So you cannot send out an outbound message, but you can call an Apex from a process builder. And within that Apex, you can write your REST action and whatever. So basically that was more developer this thing. So that's why they, rather than keeping an outbound message, they created this Apex call, and you can call the Apex from process builder straight away. So that's one thing that can be done. And then with process builder, you can also update a related record. You can create a new record as well, whereas workflow would just allow you to do field update on the record which actually triggered that workflow. This way, process builders are way more powerful. Obviously, what you were doing, like sending out an email, create a task and all that, you can still do with process builder, but these are the enhancements which process builders got into over workflow. Process builder stayed for a while, and then as Salesforce does the enhancements and brought new features in, so we got flows. So now flows are the thing in the market these days, and they are very powerful. They are actually very powerful. You can do a lot more than what you could do with a process builder or a workflow. So what happens with flows, So with flows, obviously what you were doing with process builder, so calling an Apex, updating another record, creating a new record, you can still do that. With flows, you can also, have loops inside your flow. So you can fetch more data inside your flow, and you can do a lot more things. You can create a screen flow. You can schedule a flow. So let's say your flow can run every day at a specific time, or every week at a specific time. So you can, this way you can do a lot more using a flow. Our favorite place, setup, and we go to flows. We type flows, we go to flows, and this is where you come. This is the screen that you would see. You click on new flow, and this would open a screen like this for you. So like I was talking to you earlier, so you can do like a couple of things with flows. So like you can do a screen flow, you can do a schedule triggered flow, an auto launched flow. An auto launched flow is like you can call this flow from another flow, or you can call this flow from a Apex, you can call this flow from a REST API, or you can call this flow from a button as well. That's auto launched flow. A record triggered flow, basically that gets triggered when you save a record, or when a record is updated, stuff like that. A platform event triggered flow basically would trigger when a platform event happens. We'll talk about platform events sometime later, but for now just consider it like something happens on Salesforce and then this happens. And then a record orchestration, so launches when a record is created or updated. So you can create like a multi-step or a multi-user process using record orchestration as well. So this is something which is fairly new. We had these 5, and now this one has also come up. So as you can see, like Salesforce keep on bringing new features and new enhancements, and that's how you keep on getting more powerful over time, right? So for this video, we'll talk about only this, and just one second. So with flows, what you can do is you can update a record, you can create a task, you can automate emails, and you can record, update, and email alert, and all of that. So you can do a lot of stuff with flows. This is just a few things which are there in flow. Just give me a second. I want to tell you like what more you can do with a flow. So yeah, with flows, what you can do is you can call Apex, you can create records, you can also delete records with flows, right? You can send out an email, you can submit a record for approval, you can update fields in any record, you can loop, and you can make multiple decisions, right? So that's what you can do with the flow. And there are multiple types of flows, which I have already told you: screen flow, auto launch flow, triggered flow, platform event flow. So all of that is there, right? So we'll talk about all of these flows in detail in the upcoming videos. Until then, have a good day. See you in the next video.
If you have any questions, you can join the QA session, which happens every Friday, and please drop in your comments, feedback, and any questions in the comment section, and I'll get back to you.